Who is Bill Dallas Lewis? Hi, broadcasting not live from Mazatlan, Mexico, I'm Bill the Geek. This is the Bill Dallas Lewis channel, and we make videos about the joys of living in Mexico. This video is all about who is Bill Dallas Lewis. Take a look. What do you see? Your eyes really can't see what, who, or where I am. Who is Bill Dallas Lewis? Okay, let's get started, and I'm going to share with you what led me to my journey to share with you the joys of living in Mexico. I was born and raised in Columbus, Ohio. I have a master's from The Ohio State University. But my journey to Mexico all started at Dartmouth College, located in Hanover, New Hampshire. It was really tough getting into Dartmouth College, but their curriculum is so tough, few people got in and a lot of people didn't get out. At Dartmouth, you had to study some language. I decided to study Spanish. And at Dartmouth, whatever language you chose to study, you had to go to that country and live with a family for 9 weeks. I decided to go to Mexico. I don't know why, but that's what I did. I ended up in San Luis Potosi, It's a city in a state, both with the same name. I lived with a Mexican family. Nobody spoke English but me. I was 19 years old and I lived with a 63-year-old woman and her 93-year-old mother. And her mother at 93 drank a pint of tequila every night as she sang tunes. Also living with us were the 63-year-old's two college-aged grandchildren. I lived with them for 9 weeks. It was great. There were 30 total Dartmouth College students, all living with different families all over San Luis Potosi. I became really good friends with this big black guy named Ed Moody. He was a bodybuilder, and he taught me how to build my body and do meditation. His dad was a player for the Green Bay Packers. Ed and I would walk around San Luis Potosi, and Mexicans would stop us and they would say, "You play football? You play basketball?" I would always tell them, no, we're just students. And some of the most wealthy people in San Luis Potosi would stop us. They wanted to know all about us, and they would invite us over to their big giant houses to meet their families and talk about life living in the United States. One lady we met, she was 22 years old and her name was Nellie Gonzalez. She came from a very wealthy family. Her father owned a car dealership in Tampico. Nellie had a really nice upscale condo, and she invited all of us in the group from Dartmouth over to her condo for a big party, just her and us. Ended up, Nellie Gonzalez fell in love with me, and she took me all over Mexico. One time she took me to Mexico City. We had a great time. She showed me all the highlights, the museums, the art gallery. Thing was, we ran out of money. She told me, "Don't worry, Bill, I know people with lots of money here." She took me to this giant mansion in the middle of Mexico City. We walk in and the place was huge. Lots of art all over the walls, big high ceilings, giant rooms, and beautiful furniture. The people were very happy to see Nellie. They talked and they talked. It was all in Spanish. I didn't understand a lot what was going on, but all I know is that the guy disappeared for a few minutes and he came back with a lot of money and gave it to Nellie Gonzalez. I only spoke Spanish with Nellie all the time for 9 weeks. And when I was going to leave San Luis Potosi, she took me to the airport and she started speaking fluent English. I was shocked. I said, "What, you speak English?" She said, "Yes, Bill, but I couldn't tell you because then you would not have practiced your Spanish." Please leave a comment, tell us what you think. And if you like the video, consider clicking the like button. If you know someone who wants to know who is Bill Dallas Lewis, click the share button. So there's a little bit about Bill Dallas Lewis. But who is Bill the Geek? Well, I'm a computer geek, graphic design, web design, stuff like that. My first website was sillybilly.com, one of the oldest websites on the internet. It's so old that the FBI found it. They didn't know what websites were, and they investigated me. They also investigated Disney. So who is Bill the Geek? Well, that's a whole different story. It all got started in about 1989. I was a corporate whistleblower, and I blew the whistle on this company and cost them billions of dollars. I was on front page Wall Street Journal and opened ABC's 2020. That led to a very lucrative consulting job, working for a group, and I traveled the country. I was in airplanes and hotels all the time. I did a lot of business on the West Coast, specifically Los Angeles, and one night I flew into LA, that would be LAX, the night of the LA riots. We have a new Facebook page. It's called Mexico Expats Bill Dallas Lewis. Come grow with us. We only have about 150 subscribers right now, so come grow with us, and it's your page to do what you would like and share with us your joys of living or visiting or moving to Mexico. Now, for those of you that don't know what the LA riots were, that's where about 40 policemen rounded themselves up in a circle, and in the middle of the circle they had this big guy named Rodney King, and they beat the crap out of him, and I don't know how, but somebody got it all on videotape. So once the videotape went up, people went crazy. When I flew into LAX the night of the riots, they knew me well at Alamo Rent-A-Car because I was in there all the time. Nobody was in Alamo but me. The guy behind the counter said, "Mr. Lewis, here." And he threw me the keys to a Cadillac, and he says, "Go straight to your hotel, don't go out. People are burning down houses, there's rioting going on, just go somewhere and be safe." He was right. There was a lot of burning and stealing going on. People were angry about what had happened to Rodney King. I stayed in LA doing business for the whole week, and there was like this fog, this mental, social, psychological fog over the city. And wherever you went in LA, people were standing on the corners, just talking to each other, all kinds of races, ages, nationalities, all standing on the corners, talking to one another, trying to figure out what had happened. So I'm driving all over LA, going to appointments, doing consulting, and if I'm in the Cadillac and the Howard Stern show is on, I'm listening to Howard Stern. I forget what Howard Stern was talking about, but he was talking to some white guy, and Howard was kind of sarcastic, and he told this guy, "Well, it sounds like you need to ask the white man for a raise." I'm gonna say that again. Howard Stern told the guy, "Sounds like you need to ask the white man for a raise." So I'm in LA, the LA riots had just happened, all this feelings are going on. Howard Stern just made this statement, but the statement, "Oh, do you need to ask the white man for a raise?" Something hit me when he said that. I was making lots of money on this consulting job, and I asked myself, after listening to Howard, I thought to myself, am I really happy doing this? And am I helping the world to be a better place in any way? Believe it or not, this all leads to Mexico. We go live every Saturday at 10 a.m. Central Time. Click that subscribe button and you'll get a notification, and you can join us, ask questions, tell your stories about your joys of living in Mexico every Saturday at 10 a.m. Central Time. So I wanted to make the world a better place, so I quit my job and I thought, well, what can I do? I'm going to write and illustrate children's books. So I started Silly Billy's Books. That was my main character, and the theme in each book was that through reading, anyone can do anything. I didn't have an illustrator, so I decided to teach myself computer graphics, and I was one of the first author illustrators on the planet to use computers to create the images for children's books. School systems, superintendents, principals, students loved that I could come into their schools and show them how to write stories, draw pictures, and do websites. More than 600 educational institutions around the world over a 15-year period paid me to go into their school systems and teach their teachers and kids how to use computer graphics to share their messages. I did that for 15 years, but let's make this long story short. So after that 15 years, I was quite the geek, traveling the world teaching geekism. And long story short, I met the VP of event planning for Citigroup, and she wanted me to teach her senior designers this advanced animation computer system. At the time, I was living in San Francisco, and her people were in New York City. So we hooked up a way that I could see her people's computers, they could see my computer, and I was in San Francisco, they were in New York City. So over the period of a couple of months, we would log on at about 4 o'clock in the morning my time and teach them the animation program. Over that period of time, Citigroup paid me $150 an hour. That's about 30 years ago. I started teaching one-on-one computer graphics and web design, and all of a sudden I had clients throughout the United States, Australia, Great Britain, Italy, Germany. If people could speak English, I could teach them advanced computer graphics. So that's how Bill the Geek came to be. All of this led me to Mexico. Yeah, some high-tech computer school in San Francisco, they brought me in to teach corporate senior designers, the Gap, Old Navy, the Air Force, how to do computer graphics. I did that for 5 years. Then I decided to go back to Columbus, Ohio. That's when I started teaching one-on-one computer graphics all around the world. And Columbus, Ohio was kind of boring for me. So, and then it went down to like really cold temperatures. So I said, you know, I can teach online and live anywhere in the world. All of a sudden I thought of Mexico, and I had heard great things about Puerto Vallarta. I'd never been there, but I was willing to give it a shot. I made some phone calls to expats living in Puerto Vallarta. They filled me in on the down low as far as cost of living, high-speed internet, and I was ready to go. I left Columbus, Ohio in February. It was 17 degrees at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I get on the plane, fly to Puerto Vallarta. When I land, it's 95 degrees. So pretty much I've been in Mexico for almost 20 years now. I love it. I'm so happy that I made this move. This is a little series about who is Bill the Geek, and we'll have another Bill the Geek, Bill Dallas Lewis episode out shortly. Thank you very much for watching. We have many more videos to come. Click that subscribe button and we'll see you in the next video.